Chapter 17, Veins of Darkness. As Aika descends deeper into the abyss, the oppressive heat bearing down on her like a suffocating weight. With each step, the temperature rises, searing her skin and burning her lungs with every breath. The air is thick with the stench of decay, the putrid scent of rotting flesh assaulting her senses and making her stomach churn. As she navigates the winding tunnels, Aika's heart pounds in her chest, her nerves on edge as she senses the presence of something sinister lurking in the darkness. Suddenly, she catches movement out of the corner of her eye, and she whirls around to find herself surrounded by grotesque creatures. They hang from the ceiling like monstrous spiders, their twisted forms a grotesque amalgamation of human limbs and distorted faces, frozen in eternal agony. Aika's blood runs cold as she realizes the true horror of her predicament, the realization sinking in like a lead weight in her stomach. The creatures scuttle closer, their empty eyes fixated on her with hunger and malice. Aika's hand tightens around the hilt of her sword, her breath coming in ragged gasps as she prepares to face the horde of monstrosities closing in on her. With a guttural roar, the creatures descend upon her, their razor-sharp claws slashing through the air with deadly precision. Aika screaming and fighting with all her strength, her blade a blur of motion as she cuts down her grotesque assailants one by one, limb by limb. But the creatures are relentless, their numbers overwhelming as they swarm around her like a tidal wave of death. Aika's heart races with fear and adrenaline as she battles for her life, her movements fueled by pure instinct, horror, and survival. Blood spatters the walls as Aika cuts through her enemies with ruthless efficiency, her mind a whirlwind of terror and desperation. With each swing of her sword, she feels the darkness within her growing stronger, its seductive whispers urging her to embrace the carnage and revel in the slaughter. But even as she fights, Aika struggles to resist the darkness, to hold on to her humanity in the face of overwhelming evil. With every ounce of strength she possesses, she pushes back against the tide of darkness, threatening to consume her, clinging to the faint glimmer of hope that still burns within her soul. While thinking, a sudden searing pain lances through Aika's leg, and she screams as the creature's razor-sharp claws tear through flesh and bone, severing her foot in one merciless blow. Agony courses through her body, overwhelming her senses as she falls to her knees, clutching at the stump where her foot once was. "Master, please," she cries out in desperation, her voice echoing through the cavern as tears stream down her face. But there is no answer, no salvation from the darkness closing in around her. The creatures circle closer, their grotesque forms looming over her like a pack of hungry wolves. Aika's heart pounds in her chest, her breath coming in ragged gasps as she swings her sword wildly, the blade slicing through the air, but finding no purchase against her monstrous foes. The stench of decay fills the air, mingling with the metallic tang of blood as the creatures draw nearer. Their bones creak and groan with each step, their twisted faces contorted in rictus grins of hunger and malice. Drool drips from their gaping mouths, splattering against the ground in viscous puddles as they close in for the kill. With a savage roar, the creatures descend upon her, their claws tearing into her flesh with savage glee. Aika screams in agony as they rip into her belly, the pain like fire coursing through her veins as her insides spill out onto the cavern floor. Her arms and remaining leg are torn from her body, the creatures holding them aloft like trophies as they merge with their grotesque forms. Aika's head lolls to the side, her vision swimming with pain and terror as she watches in horror as her body is consumed by the monstrous abominations. And then, in a final act of cruelty, her head is torn from her shoulders and placed atop the creature's body, a grotesque mockery of the life she once knew. In that moment of darkness, as her blood spills out onto the cavern floor, Aika's world fades to black.